The White House has released all sorts of UFO documents, but today, no tinfoil, we're dropping facts.
So if you like exposing truths and dropping truth bombs, then welcome to Tinfoil Tuesday.
I want the truth! Well, a big shazam to you people. May 8th, the Department of War and the White House, they released all sorts of documents and video and evidence of UAPs, UFOs you can call them. And a lot of folks, like approximately a metric million of y'all, have hollered at me and said, Johnny, what do you think? Today, I'm going to share with you what I think, but I'm really good at this in my regular real life, like off camera in my real life. I'm very good at separating out things that are fun and things that are fact. We're going to head to the facts today. Let me get you there. I'm going to give you some resources if you find this interesting. But I think when the White House is talking about this, we better pay attention because it's probably not good and maybe not good for the stereotypical, oh, the aliens are coming. I don't think they are. It's Tinfoil Tuesday. Today's episode is brought to you by blackoutcoffee.com/Johnny B. Holler at them, tell them I sent you, but the great part is, think about me when you're getting buzzed up every morning. They got ground, they got a whole bean, they got the cups. Try it out. Use my code, it's down in the comment section, blackoutcoffee.com. Type it in /Johnny B. That's a help to me. You people, thanks for every thumbs up. Appreciate y'all. Like I open with, I'm really good at separating stuff out. If you hang out with me in the real world, I talk about this stuff literally nonstop. I've been researching UAPs for years, and pretty consistently over the last 2 years, since summer of 24, I got really into it, and I got serious about it in my reading and my podcast and that sort of stuff. And I am very good at dividing out. If you hang out with me in real life, I'm going to throw things out there. Hey, did you know that they allegedly found giants out in New Mexico digging in a cave one time, redheaded giants? Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's kind of wild. The Berkshire UFO, it's how we started this entire series. Those sort of things are a lot of fun to me. The what ifs, the Egyptian relics that are in the Grand Canyon, et cetera, all the way to those aliens in the caves of Australia. But I always have it divided out from what is fact and what is fun. Beginning with fact, not long ago, the Go Fast videos were released. We know the U.S. Navy released these. And we see these ships. The ships are definitely real. What are they? I don't know. Fact, they released the Go Fast. And then the White House released all this stuff on May 8th, and people are like, oh my Lord, they're releasing all this data, and it turns out to be sort of a big nothing burger. It's nothing more than stuff we already had or already knew. And you go through the actual releases, and they're super blurry and super grainy, and I stop and I'm like, the U.S. Army can read the serial number on a bolt on a battleship moving in the Mediterranean, yet this is the best we have releases of these actual ships. I don't know. Now, something to pause and say, hey, you know what? Always attached to UAPs and attached to UFOs and attached to Bigfoot are the crazies. It reminds me of the folks in Independence Day, the movie, up on that tall building and going, yay, aliens, we love you. But aliens are always attached to crazy. That's not an accident. That is by design. I believe that is 100% by design by the federal government. Attach it to something crazy, and then all of it goes away. And it has gotten wild over the last few years. Like what we've found out is from beginning with the Go Fast all the way to like Commander David Fravor, who seems to be fairly credible. He's a Navy pilot that saw a lot of this stuff. He's testified before Congress. Anna Paulina Luna went on Joe Rogan's show not long ago, and she was talking. She's a U.S. representative that she's seen it, and she has seen alien life, actual, not just technology, but life. I don't know. Again, separate it out. Now, people always come to me and they say, hey, Johnny, where should I start when I want to research this stuff? And I always think Bob Lazar is the right person to start with. And I have a couple things to say about that. One, you can't dismiss or explain all of this stuff in one sentence. I really want to challenge y'all, those that are still with me a few minutes in. I want to challenge you when you work through this stuff, and it's not just what's on my laptop here. Maybe if you're working through looking at what's going on in the Middle East right now, looking at gas prices, looking at any of the bullcrap the Fed are doing, you can't just dismiss it or explain it in one sentence. I've had people say, Johnny, aliens are demons. It's more complicated than that. Or somebody last time said, Johnny, the Epstein files. You can't think about aliens because of the Epstein file. I can think about it. Well, A, I can think about whatever I want, but B, when the Department of War is talking about it, we better be paying attention. So the first thing, when talking about Bob Lazar, you can't just dismiss it because people go, oh, he's discredited. Yeah, if you read the Wikipedia article on him, you're going to get some questions. Yeah, he used to run a brothel. We'll do another episode on that later. But the second thing about Bob Lazar is you can't just dismiss it in one sentence. The second thing is, I'm telling you, he might be the most credible. He might be, if you'll go deep diving him. A new one just a few weeks ago was released. It's a documentary called S4, The Bob Lazar Story, and that's a really good starting place. It's on Amazon, a starting place to learn about his story. I want to say this, the stuff he said in the 80s, he has never ventured from it. He has never changed his story, and repeatedly the things he talked about it have been confirmed. I don't know. It's a really interesting place to start. If you want to go more of the academic route, this one right here, American Cosmic. That's my copy of Anna Palsuka's book. Anna Palsuka, she's been on Rogan and stuff, but she is a researcher from the University of North Carolina in Wilmington. Her first book is interesting. She doesn't have a dog in the race. She's not out chasing Bigfoot and chasing aliens. She's a academic researcher, so she understands the process to writing things down. Those are two really good sources. You can start with S4 or either one of Diana Palsuka's books. And then you get to the other two that I think are pretty credible is Jeremy Corbell. He's a researcher. He is, I'm going to use the word measured. He's going to frustrate you because he doesn't just release anything. He'll sit on some documents or some videos for 5 and 8 and even 10 years to make sure he has the right clearances and make sure he's not going to get in trouble, make sure it's all verified. And he has to. Why? Another fact. No tinfoil. This is fact. The federal government releases all sorts of disinformation, malinformation, and misinformation. And so Jeremy has to wade through all of that. If you watch any UFO documentary, most of them, there's going to be government agents on there spewing garbage. And then finally, George Knapp. Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp both work a lot together. George Knapp is a researcher. He's a journalist, and he's also very measured in what he releases. George Knapp is the one that released the original Bob Lazar story back in the 80s. Now, I'm now going to talk to you about 3 different areas. I want to talk about facts. I want to talk about what it seems to me, and then I'm going to talk about a maybe, and then I'll wrap it up and put a bow tie on it. Whenever I'm hanging out with friends and we're talking about these sort of things, maybe it's 9/11 or gas prices, anything, I have a big difference between, hey, it's kind of fun to talk about this. Who created the Federal Reserve? Did the Titanic really sink? Maybe. Was it the Titanic or was it the Olympic? I don't know. I throw question mark. But there are times where I get doggone serious and I'll say, no. We're not arguing about this. It's a fact. And there's going to be a few of these over the next few minutes that it's not a discussion. I'm deep enough in it to know there's a few little areas we don't have to discuss. Facts. Our naval ships see things. Our naval ships see airships. A lot of reports that they also go down into the ocean. They go into water. I don't know. But I do know this. There are things in the sky that have technology that we do not have. And people, back to the blanket statement, there's going to be people that say, type it away. Oh, it's the military. They have it all. I don't know. Do they? I don't know. But I do know this is there's a lot of UAP activity over the last 50, 60 years. And it seems like there's more now than ever. The documentary Age of Disclosure back last year said if there was more disclosure coming. We'll see if it happens. But the more people testify in front of Congress, I think most of them are plants. Most of them are following a script. But there's a few threads in there. It does seem fact that there are ships that seem to follow our warships. They follow our nuclear subs. They follow our nuclear battleships. They follow our nuclear, anybody that is carrying nuclear capabilities, nuclear warheads. Second fact is our federal government is talking about it. And I think that is very serious and very significant. We need to think about this and pay attention to it. Our government has been using false flags for decades, if not centuries. They are riddled with false flags. Gulf of Tonkin. And it goes on from there. And there's been a lot more since then. Anything they talk about, it's like, watch this hand, slap. I don't trust them. 2 facts. Ships follow our ships. They're up there. And our federal government's talking about it. Our War Department is talking about it. There is a very unpopular, and if I say war, people are going to bang away on the keyboard and say, Johnny, it's not a war. Only Congress can create it. Sure seems like a war, feels like a war, sounds like a war, and quacks like a war. Whatever's going on in the Middle East, they will do, whoever it is, the powers that be will do whatever it takes to make sure it rolls on. And in the middle of all this, in the middle of the files that haven't, the other files that haven't been released, they start talking about UAPs. Those are two facts for you. All right, it seems to me that there might be a tech race going on. This is just me. We're moving over to question marks. We're moving over. It seems to me it might be a tech race, and whoever gets this, you can call it anti-gravity, whatever, gets this technology that can make 600-mile-an-hour right-hand turns, whoever gets that technology owns Earth, and there might be a space race on. Moving back to the 40s, there's a huge technology spike after the 40s, after the Bob Lazar, the Area 51, all that stuff went on, and then suddenly we have transistors. Suddenly we have fiber optic cables, and we go from steam locomotives to on the moon in a few decades. No. So it seems that there might be a tech race going on. What I do know maybe moves to big seems, fact seems, it's almost a fact, is that the military-industrial complex is driving a lot of this. Diana Pasuka, in her book, she hints into that a lot of it is just tech-driven and that there might just be an arms race or a tech race going on. All right, I'm going to move into the maybe. Here's maybe. Now, this is fun. We're swapping cars. Some of y'all didn't know I have two Dukes of Hazzard's car because of y'all. We're moving into tinfoil, but part of this is fact. It seems like it might be really, really old technology that's been here for a long, long time and pre-flood. I'm going to give you some facts, but a lot of this is maybe. You look at Göbekli Tepe and what's been uncovered there, that is certainly pre-flood. It is certainly beyond technology that they were supposed to have, but maybe technology that we could figure out at the time. They weren't supposed to be able to build Göbekli Tepe back then. If you don't know what that is, it's really old. Think like Middle Eastern Stonehenge. They were supposed to be hunter-gatherer Clovis style people, but they're building these monuments. I don't know, but it gets better. These are the Baalbek stones, and they're not supposed to be there. We don't have the technology to carve them. We don't have the technology to move them. And fact, moving to fact, I'm not switching cars, but I'm moving to fact. We cannot do that, and nobody in our post-flood history has been able to build those stones or move those stones. The idea of 6,000 people with ropes and pulleys and horses and pulling that stuff like some sort of Ten Commandments, Charlton Heston garbage, it didn't happen. It's not just like, how did they do that? No, it didn't happen. They did not do that. Nobody post-flood or Younger Dryas impact theory. Nobody post-flood could build those stones. That's fact. Then you get to the pre-dynastic Egyptian vases. The Egyptians didn't build these. The Egyptians didn't carve these. I've done an episode on them. It is one of, think about this, if there is a massive flood and all sorts of stuff from the Tower of Babel, all just wiped out, the only thing left are a few rocks. The few rocks that are left are perfect. We're not arguing this. We could argue a lot of stuff about the Egyptians, but they didn't do the pyramids. They did not do the vases. We're not arguing that. They lived in the Copper Age. They did not cut stones. They did not move those stones. They rolled them on trees across the mountain. No, they didn't. There is not a single species of tree in that entire hemisphere that could take the weight of rolling those stones. Big stones aside, how about the little stones? There are hundreds of thousands of these vases, and they are perfect, and they are symmetrical, and they are a literal impossibility. These were not built, created, carved, or lathed out by modern humans. They were definitely not done by the Egyptians. No one in the Copper Age, the Bronze Age, nope, they didn't do it. They didn't do it. So we're moving back to maybe fact, the Egyptians didn't build them. Possibly, I think we may be dealing with really, really old technology that the pre-flood tech might be. This is perfect for Tuesday. The pre-flood technology might be light years beyond what we think it might have been. Another example are the Sacsayhuaman walls. You can find them in Cuzco. That's in Peru. They're near Cuzco, but the Sacsayhuaman walls, these were not built by modern humans at all. And there's so many problems with it. the cutting, the moving, how they work, how they're shaped. It's an impossibility. So these are things that I'm not even willing to discuss with people. I love discussing question marks. Love it. Love question marks. But when you get to who built the Giza Plateau, it wasn't. It might have been humans, but it wasn't Egyptian humans in the Copper Age. Fact. I believe also, this is me, back to seams, pre-flood and phenomenal technology. And then you get to what's going on the Giza Plateau right now. The Giza Plateau has those spirals. The spirals are fact. We don't know what they are yet. We don't know. But the technology that's been done by the Europeans on that is really, really interesting. What does all that have to do with aliens and UFOs? My point is this, and major tinfoil here. These ships might be old. They might be very, very old. Diana Pasuka talks about some of these were dug up. Bob Lazar has talked about how some of them were archaeological finds and that whatever metal they are is perfect, incorruptible. They're perfect forever. They will never, these elements that are in there will never rust or break down. This is not a steam locomotive or an iPhone. This is something else. And it might be that the pre-flood, maybe, tinfoil, that the pre-flood technology was far and away beyond anything we can comprehend, and it all still works. Or we could talk about antediluvian, pre-Adamic races that even had, and there were multiple resets. There's a lot of theories that there might have been multiple resets and that from Adam to the flood might not have been the first one. I don't know, question mark. But what I do know, the federal government has said there's UAPs and they have it documented. They hand us a bunch of garbage. It's a big nothing burger. And I'm left with a lot of questions, a very few facts, but I absolutely love this. What say you? Type it away. Give me one sentence. Oh, Johnny, it's just demons. Let me know what you think right down below. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Welcome to Tinfoil Tuesday. We hope you sing along.
You want answers? Diabetes.